YouTube gave me poison ivy. It's all up and down my arm here, kind of on my side a little bit, little spot right up here under my hat. This video is about a video on my other channel, which is not really art related. A woman asked me to shoot a video for her where we went out in the woods, and I'm very susceptible to poison ivy, and I knew that ever since I was a kid. Back in Boy Scout days, I used to get it, and I knew better than to go out in the woods, and it's really woody out where I live. I'm in southeast Nebraska, and this place was a mausoleum that was carved out of sandstone by a man back in 1910. It's a local landmark. Lots of people visit it, but it's hard to get to because it's so woody, and it's on the side of a creek. And I knew going into it I was going to have some trouble, so I wore long pants, make sure I didn't get any poison ivy on my legs. But when I was doing it, it was over 100 degrees. We went early in the morning, and I thought I'd be fine, and I didn't drink enough water. I got dehydrated several times, and I had to sit down, and I couldn't get around very well. And somehow I laid my arm right in some poison ivy. For the first couple of days, I didn't even notice it. I had a little bit of an itch. I thought it'd be fine. But as the week went along, it'll be a week tomorrow, my entire arm here was just covered in red rash, and I started getting blisters. So yesterday I had to go to the doctor and get some prednisone and some steroids and some cream, and it itches. It's not terrible, but she asked me to do this because of my editing skills. I can put a video together, and I'll throw that video behind this video, so stick to, because it's actually a very interesting story. This guy back in 1910 decided to build his own grave mausoleum, and he carved it for 10 years out of sandstone, and it's still there, and kids over the years have gone there and carved their names inside. It's really fascinating, but it's not the kind of place you want to really go travel to during the middle of the summer and a rainy season. I knew better, but I wanted to get the video done, and the video is done very, very well. We've got like 11,000 views on it so far. So this is not an art video, even though that's my art right there. I would appreciate if you guys would binge watch my old stuff, because my art channel is like, it's basically dead. I turned it into a writing channel, which has done a lot better, a lot of Star Trek fan fiction, but it's only hit a limitation. It's only gotten so far, and I can't get it any bigger, and I don't know what to do with it. So I've been doing this. Well, my first YouTube channel has over 1,000 videos, a lot of local content, sports stuff, and it does okay. This video, I'm in the channel here where I have my art and my writing, is doing okay, but I think I have something to show. I think I have some skills. I think you can learn from me, and my stuff is science fiction, fantasy related, a lot of acrylic art, a lot of ink wash. I think I have something that you can learn from. Just check me out. Just go to my playlists, or just go back and look through my stuff. I would appreciate it. But this last video was just me hauling cameras out in the woods, and it was a very hilly area, and I got dehydrated. And I'll tell you one thing: if you go out in the woods, and we got lost for 3 hours, and I had no water, and she was about my age, but able to run back to the truck and get some water. And once I got rehydrated, I felt much better. But I'll teach you a lesson right here. Wear long shirts and long pants, and make sure you hydrate and bring water with you. I was carrying 3 tripods in my lighting rig with me as I was tromping through the woods up and down these hills. And at my advanced age, it wasn't that easy. So YouTube gave me poison ivy. 3 months ago, I broke 3 ribs out on the ice, and I got a video of that as well. So this has been quite the journey for me, breaking my ribs. And I have the actual video. You can actually see me flying through the air and landing on my side right on this ledge, and I cracked 3 ribs. That took a while to get over. And here I am, 3 months later, tromping through the woods, over these hills, through the woods, oh, here's the one thing. I was walking through this tall grass, holding my tripods in my hand. I can't see what's below me. All of a sudden I step in this hole. Clunk. I'm laying flat on the ground. I can't see anything around me. Trying to stand up. That was a nightmare. But I finally got up, tromped back through the grass. I was lost at that point. Found my way back to the main path that led back to the truck. But then I lost track of her. And I was screaming her name, you know, hey, where are you at? And she was screaming her name. So I had to kind of pinpoint where she was at because she actually found the location before I did. And when I finally got there, I got to a point where I couldn't get up the hills anymore because I was so dehydrated. My heart was pounding. Ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. I mean, I was just out of breath. And I had to sit down. I think that's when I got the poison ivy. I think I sat down in a place and there was probably leaves right next to me. I didn't even know it. I know what poison ivy kind of looks like. I looked it up. It's 3 shiny leaves. But the way I was feeling, it didn't matter. My heart was pounding. I couldn't catch my breath. When she finally got a hold of me, she took my hand and took me up and down the hills to get to the place we needed to be to make the actual video. And the video itself is probably one of the best videos I've made in a long, long time. So if you made it this far, just stick with me so you can watch the whole video. It's really, really interesting. I'm going to put this video on both of my channels because that's where it belongs. Because I do art and I tromp around the woods and I get poison ivy. Lots of it. I'm not going to show it to you because it's kind of gross. But I had blisters and it was pretty gross. And then it leaked onto my side and I got rash over here. I must have touched my head. I got it up here. But luckily, I think that's all the places I got it. And now that I got the steroids, I'm noticing it's already kind of helping quite a bit. And I got a nice steroid cream. You know, I don't want to tell my medical issues to everybody. I'm a registered nurse and I don't believe in sharing all that stuff, but YouTube gave me poison ivy. So if you want to see me crack my ribs and get poison, well, you won't see me get poison ivy, but I'm showing you the results of my little trip. Just stick with this and you'll be entertained.
I'm Gina Grizzle, and I'm teaming up with Keith Trim and Trim Photo, and we are bringing to you today Hidden Gem number 4. And when we say hidden gem, we mean hidden gem. We have been out here along the Rose Creek wandering for over 2 hours, and we have finally found the Rose Creek Mausoleum, also known as McDowell Tomb. We are sweaty, we have had ticks, we have had poison ivy, but we are here and we can't wait to share this hidden gem with you. So this mausoleum was actually built by Nelson McDowell. It was started in 1915, and it took him 10 years to carve into the sandstone cliff over the years. He used a chisel, he used a hammer, and I am telling you, people have come from near and far away to explore this hidden gem. And this area here we're entering is actually called the inner chamber. It's actually considered the burial chamber. So McDowell actually carved benches out on both sides, and those were actually the areas that would have held the casket. One side was for McDowell. The other side was actually for Cliff Hunter, who was a neighbor who also helped him on the project. As you can see, the chisel and hammer, the area is curved at the top, and over the years, lots of people had visited out here. We saw in 1941, we saw in 1958 and 1968. So for years and years, people have been exploring this hidden gem. Okay, we are in the outer chamber. This is actually called the antechamber. And once again, this is where McDowell actually started. If you look up high, you're going to see, I don't know, to me, it represents the sun and the sun beams coming off of the sun. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 different rays coming out of it. What would you call that?
I reckon.
What are the things that come off the sun? What's that called?
Rays.
Are they rays? The sun with the rays?
Sunbeams.
Sunbeams.
Okay.
Large area that is carved in there. I bet it's probably 2 feet, circular area. And then he's actually got the sunbeams coming down from the top of the cave. So in this area, this is where he began his project. Sandstone cliff overlooking the creek, and it took him 10 years. So he actually chiseled this entire area. You almost wonder how long it actually took him to do the entire area. Oh, I just keep feeling like I do got a tick. Oh! Okay. McDowell was actually born in 1856 and undertook this project at the age of 58. So 58, took him 10 years. He finished this project at the age of 68. Everyone thought he undertook the project to actually have a place to be buried, but the reason he undertook it was actually because he wanted to improve his health. Who can imagine? Hammer, chisel, improve your health, chisel out a mausoleum for 10 years. In 1937, at the age of 80, McDowell was killed when a car he was riding in was struck by a Union Pacific train at a crossing in Fairbury. McDowell would not be buried in the tomb he created. Unfortunately, state law didn't allow it. Instead, he lies in the family's plot in the Fairbury Cemetery. Now, what's interesting is that the editor of the Fairbury Journal newspaper wrote an article the week after his obituary ran, and he said, "The tomb was never intended to be a tomb, but was simply a hobby." That concludes hidden gem number 4. I am telling you, we have experienced ticks. We have experienced poison ivy. We have experienced Keith having dehydration. He's with me now.
Make sure you bring bottles of water if you come out here.
I am telling you, this is truly a hidden gem. It's probably our best hidden gem yet. Make sure you have good shoes. Make sure someone knows where you're going, and make sure to enjoy the trip. Follow us again, Keith Trim, Trim Photos, and Gina Grizzle. We are going to be bringing to you hidden gem number 5 shortly, as long as we don't have
Gina,
poison ivy.
That's Trim Photo.
Oh, go again.